talk to you this morning using Luke 1:31-35 from the Gospel of St. Luke, and together, let's stand and read it. Since your emotions are a collection of your experiences, you cannot trust how you feel. In front of thousands of worshippers, Bishop T.D. Jakes, known as the most prominent preacher in America, abruptly passed out on the pulpit after his heart stopped pumping in a matter of seconds. Music. Did a spiritual icon's heart attack mark the end of his life, or the start of a completely new chapter? The complete truth behind T.D. Jakes' devastating diagnosis, rebirth, and decision that put the community in a state of shock will be revealed in this video. In American Christianity, Bishop T.D. Jakes was originally seen as a representation of fortitude and determination. And I want to know whether there are any thoughts that are preventing you from living your best life at the moment because you are unable to stop them. However, by the end of 2024, that perception abruptly shifted. In front of thousands of Christians, his heart stopped beating while he was preaching at the Potter's House. The whole religious community was taken aback by the episode. Physicians determined that it was a large, potentially fatal heart attack. Jake survived the emergency procedure, and the most significant turning point in his 40-year career was brought about by that incident. God kept me not to end, but to start something new. He calmly stated this in his first appearance afterward, and it soon became the manifesto for the new stage of his life. As someone who always worked non-stop, Jake started his recovery with a completely different routine that prioritized rest and treatment. He had to closely adhere to the treatment plan and schedule routine appointments after the doctors performed stent surgery. He first spent the majority of his time at home with his wife and the medical staff, keeping an eye on his health. Jake characterized this time as a process of relearning how to release pressure, listen to his body, and breathe. In an online discussion in early 2025, he stated that the heart attack served as a reminder that even the strongest people have limitations. Jake took the unexpected choice to resign as senior pastor of the Potter's House, the church he founded and served as its leader for almost 30 years. He made the announcement that his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, will take over as leader during a special event that was attended by thousands of people. Of course, I personally pledge to sowing a seed to construct an altar whenever God meets me. The light turns on when you recognize something in that message. When he said, "This is not a farewell," the event came to a solemn close. The flame is being passed. Jake has only seen a few sermons since the incident, either on television or at significant events. Instead of being a weekly presence in the pulpit, he still leads by thinking. According to medical professionals, his heart is healing nicely, but he still needs to manage his blood pressure, lower his stress level, and continue exercising. That required someone accustomed to managing hundreds of projects at once to learn how to slow down. Jake also took some time to write and contemplate while he recovered. He finished writing a new book called Heart of a Shepherd, which is about leadership in the face of difficulties and constraints. During a religious conference, he said, "I used to think that power came from doing a lot. I now realize that real strength comes from knowing when to stop in order to protect the others." Many people watched as Jake appeared to turn the fear of getting sick into new life. He followed a diet, engaged in mild exercise, and read the Bible every morning while meditating. He was able to maintain his composure and manage the operations from a distance, thanks to these apparently straightforward practices. It was a peaceful handover from father to daughter. The Potter's House leadership has formally been assumed by Sarah Jakes Roberts, who has long been active in women's activities and the Woman Develop Conference. In a more contemporary and friendly manner, she embodies a new generation carrying on her father's work. Jake continues to serve as the church's spiritual supervisor and senior advisor. He hasn't entirely withdrawn. Instead, he has opted to remain a silent but firm presence in the background. Following his devastating diagnosis, Jake's story is not one of recuperation or relaxation. It reveals a more profound aspect of the roots that have kept him rooted in his family, where he discovered the genuine faith and fortitude to carry on living and serving. Marriage and the family pillar have served as Bishop T.D. Jakes' steadfast pillars during his entire journey. When a health issue forced him to halt his 40 years of pastoring, his family was the one who kept him balanced and gave him the fortitude to bounce back. Since the beginning of his career, his wife, Sarita Jakes, has been by his side, sharing in his triumphs and his most vulnerable moments. After serving together in West Virginia's Christian ministry for a while, they were married in 1982. From Jake's early days as a church minister to his ascent to fame, Sarita has been there for him at every turn. Beyond simply being a life partner, Sarita has been more. In his cabinet, she has been a reliable collaborator. In 1983, she was seriously hurt in a car accident, but Jake took care of her until she got better. They both learned what it meant to conquer obstacles together from that experience. Sarita's character recurred in 2024 when Jake had a heart attack. This time, though, she was the one who supported her husband during every phase of his therapy and kept him composed. Jake frequently describes his wife as the quiet strength behind me in his health updates. Together, the two attended therapy and made changes to their work and nutrition schedules. As Jake concentrated on his physical and mental healing, Sarita assisted him in staying disciplined. Together, they frequently read the Bible, which Jake views as a crucial component of his therapeutic treatment. Despite his infrequent public appearances, Sarita was always there to support him in keeping his ministry and personal life together. The 5 children in their family are Thomas Jr., Cora, Sarah, Jermaine, and Jamar. Despite following various paths, they are all connected to their parents' legacy. Jermaine and Jamar are entrepreneurs who manage religious media-related projects. Thomas Jr. oversees the Potter's House's publicity and logistical activities. The oldest daughter, Cora Jakes, oversees the church community's programs for women's spiritual and mental healing. The youngest, Sarah Jakes Roberts, has millions of fans and is most famous for her youthful leadership style. In April 2025, Jake revealed that he was changing leadership, and Sarah was selected to take over. In addition to a title change, he characterized the occasion as a spiritual continuity between 2 generations and a revival of legacy. Through conferences and initiatives like Woman Evolve, which are regarded as a contemporary continuation of her father's Woman Tho Art Freed movement, Sarah had previously proven her leadership skills. He taught Sarah how to lead a group, create a vision, and engage with the community more receptively. In addition to being a family choice, the transfer to her daughter was a tactic to protect the Potter's House's values. During an internal sharing session, Jake once remarked, "The foundation was built by my generation. It will be expanded by the generation of my offspring." His long-standing leadership is evident in the phrase, "Philosophy, legacy is handed on to the following generation rather than ending with the individual." Following his sickness, Jake's family grew closer than before. The kids shared their aspirations for the organization's future with their parents during frequent prayer meetings at home. For them, their father's condition was a test of faith as much as a physical one. Jake once said that these family-friendly events kept him upbeat throughout his therapy. After his personal life had calmed down, Jake reflected on his entire professional experience, which had seen him become one of the most prominent spiritual leaders in the world via decades of service. And the tale of his professional trajectory, with its various layers of values, emerged at the nexus of recovery and legacy. A legacy that was intentionally created. The journey from modest beginnings to worldwide significance is exemplified by Bishop T.D. Jakes' career. In West Virginia, he began with a church with only 10 members before progressively becoming one of the biggest Christian communities in the country, Potter's House. In order to increase the impact of faith, each stage combined business and religious education, reflecting practical leadership thought. On the basis of community service, Jake established the Potter's House after relocating to Dallas in the middle of the 1990s. He transformed it from a tiny chapel into a state-of-the-art facility that can hold tens of thousands of people and has an internet broadcast network that reaches over 100 nations. According to Jake, evangelism involves more than just discussing faith. It also entails improving people's quality of life. He created housing for low-income families, offered vocational training programs for youth, and set up charity foundations to aid pupils. He once remarked at a leadership conference, "Give people a reason to hope if you want to preach hope." Jake has written more than 50 books, including bestsellers like Woman Thou Art, Lose He Oceans, Instinct Crushing, and Destiny. These books spread a message of strength, purpose, and healing far beyond the traditional religious sphere. In fact, Woman Thou Art Lost was even made into a movie, which further propelled Jake beyond the confines of the faith community. His success goes beyond his church and his media influence. Jake's powerful, logical, and approachable style of speaking has garnered him millions of views on online platforms, and he soon became one of the most sought-after speakers at religious and corporate events in the United States. He also appeared on major television shows, working with influential figures like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Joel Austin. While many prefer to concentrate solely on the church, Jake has expanded into film and television production, founding T.D. Jake Enterprises, a firm that creates material inspired by faith and human values. Many have characterized his manner as a hybrid of a modern pastor and a business leader. In addition to providing entertainment, he has made real estate development investments and arranged economic conferences for the Black community with the aim of promoting financial independence and entrepreneurship. Works like Jumping the Broom and Heaven is for Real have sold well, demonstrating that stories with religious overtones can still be read by a broad audience. Alongside his success, Jake has had a significant impact on society, being asked to counsel numerous leaders on issues such as poverty alleviation and education reform. Under his leadership, the Potter's House became a place for not only believers, but also artists, politicians, and business people looking for spiritual guidance. Despite staying out of politics, Jake consistently reaffirmed the need to combine faith with action, saying, "A sermon is valuable when it changes people's lives, not just their feelings." Jake's more than 40-year career has also been linked to an innovative spirit, as he was among the first pastors to use digital technology to spread the gospel. This quick change has helped the Potter's House not only survive but flourish in the new era. During those trying years, Jake's image was further etched as someone who not only stood firm in the face of pressure, but also turned it into a life-saving lesson for a new generation of leaders. When the pandemic forced the church to close, Jake moved all activities online, maintaining connections with millions of people through social media and digital television. Bishop T.D. Jakes had to deal with the pressure and difficulties that came with his position on numerous occasions during his lengthy journey to establish a spiritual empire. The more influence he had, the more scrutiny he was subjected to, and he was the first to realize that leadership is not only about inspiring, but also about enduring pressure. As Jake famously remarked, being a leader means taking the first jabs that are thrown at you. Jake's teachings caused controversy in the early years of the new century when the Potter's House had grown to become one of the biggest churches in America. Some believed that his contemporary interpretation of the Bible was displacing more traditional values. In the face of such pressure, Jake publicly affirmed his belief in the Trinity and the importance of faith in contemporary life, choosing to engage in dialogue rather than dispute, stressing that all doctrines must be understood in the context of human life. Fame also brought with it issues pertaining to management, charity, and finances. Each year, Jake proactively released an independent audit report confirming that all revenue and expenditures supported community development and education relief, as the Potter's House operated as a large system with a budget of tens of millions of dollars. During a press conference in Dallas, he stated, "I don't manage for praise. I manage because of my responsibility to God and to people." In addition to the organizational pressures, Jake also experienced physical wear and tear from his constant work and his hectic schedule and a string of international events left him in a state of chronic stress. In addition to internal pressure in recent years, Jake has also faced a wave of controversy surrounding his social relationships. Despite medical experts' repeated advice to cut back on his workload, he continued to lead social activities, films, and major conferences. This intensity accumulated over many years and became the cause of his health deterioration, culminating in a serious heart attack in 2024. Jake calmly responded that all appearances were within the framework of media cooperation, aiming to spread positive values to young people, and that he was always ready to cooperate with influential people to expand the impact of the message of faith. Some pictures and information that were circulated about meetings in the entertainment industry caused public discussion. In a speech, he stated, "I don't choose where I am loved. I choose where I can make a change." Career crises have enabled Jake to exhibit a strong leadership style, choosing to confront rather than avoid negative reactions, and giving sermons on tolerance in response, inspiring others to learn how to persevere in the face of hardship. At a religious leadership conference, he once remarked, "Leadership is not a position. It is the ability to stay calm when everything around you is out of control." His journey is deeply rooted in his roots, and it is this philosophy that makes him a role model for many young pastors who see in him a symbol of resilience. Thomas Dexter Jakes was born in 1957 in South Charleston, West Virginia, into a working-class family. His mother, Odith Patton, and father, Ernest Jake Sr., operated a small industrial cleaning business. This was the time in his early life when his character and resilience were formed, a time that helped him survive between the highs and the lows. Jake was a home economics teacher. Growing up in the impoverished Vanellia neighborhood, where everyone had to work hard to make ends meet, Jake was taught the importance of hard work and discipline at a young age. He woke up early to assist his father with household chores and spent the evenings listening to his mother teach her students in the small room at the back of the house. In 1973, Jake's father died after a protracted battle with kidney disease, forcing him to mature earlier than his peers. While caring for his father, he witnessed his mother overcome her grief and learned the strength of faith. These experiences shaped Jake's independence and compassion, two qualities that would later shape him. Jake felt a strong calling to become a preacher, and after the funeral, he became more involved in local church activities, helping the community and finding comfort in helping others. Jake attended school and worked part-time to pay his bills while attending West Virginia State University to study chemistry. However, he decided to stay in the church rather than pursue a career in research for the straightforward reason that he found that standing in front of people discussing hope and change was more fulfilling than working in a lab. After graduating, Jake dedicated his entire time to ministry and was formally ordained in his early 20s. There were only a few dozen people at his first church, Greater Emmanuel Temple of Faith, and he did everything himself, from cleaning to preaching to even driving around the area to spread his faith. Each trip was a challenge to his endurance, but it also gave him a chance to improve his speaking abilities and build relationships with the locals. The lectures were not broadcast. There were no cameras, just Jake and his conviction that words could transform someone's life. Growing up in poverty also helped Jake develop a realistic perspective on people, realizing that faith must be connected to action and that people can only stay positive when they are genuinely helped. This experience later served as the basis for his leadership philosophy, utilizing faith as motivation to make life better. When asked many years later what inspired him to build the Potter's House, he simply replied, "I know what it is like to start from zero." If you thought this story was insightful or thought-provoking, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more content. Thank you for viewing, and please share what you found most inspiring about Bishop T.D. Jakes' journey in the comments section below.